Sure, there are pocket pistols before the Ruger LCP, and then the LCP II and the LCP Max, the current generation we're going to talk about today. But I really believe that the LCP series from Ruger really has kind of etched its place in history in the pocket carrier world, and for good reason. They just run. Now what I have in my hand right here is the Ruger LCP II, which was my introduction into the Ruger LCP series. I never really had the LCP. I've shot it before, but it had a terrible long double action trigger, which made it even that much harder, and it's really more of like a belly gun, right? Get really close up on it. But this is the LCP II, which came out years back. I got it when it first came out, probably going on 10 years ago now almost. And with that, has a little bit of improved sights, has some serrations on the back there. I'll show you everything kind of close up here in a minute, but it's a 6+1 380 hammer fired design, semi-automatic handgun. Terrible grip, still has that old boxy Ruger grip that was so famous years ago. I mean, it looked futuristic, which is fine, but it was never that comfortable, and they had a bunch of these types of grips on their handgun series. So that's the LCP II. But the real belle of the ball here is the Ruger LCP Max. So both of those, LCP II, LCP Max, come with pocket holsters, and you can see that this one's brand new, but this LCP II here has seen better days, been worn out. These are good handguns to kind of just throw in a pocket and go with it. But the LCP Max kind of took it to the next level than the LCP II even did. Kind of improved ergonomics, slightly thicker, and we'll talk about that here on the table in a second. This is the 75th anniversary edition, by the way, for the Ruger anniversary. Very much improved sighting. Nice sight picture there. You even have a night glow sight up front there with a white ring around it. Blacked out serrated rear. So this is really my absolute favorite sight picture right here anyways. But the big thing is similar trigger, hammer fired, you know, the whole 9 yards there, and comes with a 10 rounds, so 10+1, 380, plus you can get the extendo +2, so 12 rounds, so 12+1, 380. And this thing just runs, feels a lot better in the hand, and I think the accuracy testing that I've done over the last few months since getting this kind of proves my point there. Battle of the Ruger LCPs, LCP II, LCP Max 75th Anniversary Edition. First up, LCP II, 380, 95 grains, right there. 5 rounds, 5 yards, slow and steady. Next up, Ruger LCP Max, 95 grains, 5 rounds, 5 yards. Again, slow and steady, slightly thicker, but not by much. Still kind of a handful to hold on to and aim accurately. Let's check it out. You have your LCP II on the left here. You can see that right there. LCP Max on the right. Like I said, a little thicker, a little bit more to grab onto, a little bit more to love there. But they both have little extensions on here. 6 round, 12 round mags. There you have it. Such a cool platform. They both fit really well in the pocket there. And again, let me show you in a second kind of the size difference here, but they really crammed a few extra rounds in there in a package that is not that much bigger, if at all, really, to the LCP II even, right? So it's just something where you can throw in a pocket or a bag and go. And it's just super easy to conceal. It's something where if I'm going someplace where I can't have a big holster on me, or if it is a holster that's gonna be really, really small, then this might be the way to go. And I just compared this to the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 fantastic pocket carry, right? That thing has been amazing, and you have to check out that video to kind of see how it stacks up against the LCP Max. Let's take a quick close-up at the table here behind me. Let me show you the features here, talk about maybe some of the differences and what they did from the LCP II to the new LCP Max. Obviously, the LCP II has been around a very long time. How I've typically carried it is like this in this holster. You can kind of see that it has some nice wear on it on both sides because it goes in that front right pocket. You could potentially wear this inside the belt as like an IWB holster, but really the pocket is kind of where this is designed to be at. But the LCP II I carry with a little pinky extension right here that you can pick up from Ruger there. I can't remember if it came with this or not. I think it was an extra thing you had to buy, but it came with at least, I think, 2 of the 6-round mags here. So you have 6 rounds of LCP. You can see this thing has been shot quite a bit, carried quite a bit, and it's proved its worth. I mean, for something that I've had for probably a decade or so now, I've done full reviews on this in the past, way back when, early on in the channel, and you can kind of see I ended up painting that sight there, a little orange with some fluorescent nail polish there. There has been some rust spots here forming because of all the sweat and stuff that gets on here, but I'll clean it up as soon as I see that happen and kind of take it apart and get some maintenance on there. Everything functions as it should. And the trigger still feels pretty good. And like I mentioned, the hammer fired. You can kind of see back here, that hammer, it's kind of hard to see, but the hammer does fall back. Now the LCP Max, of course, a little bit newer here, Ruger 75th anniversary edition. That is really cool to see there. I carry it like this. I know there are the +2 extensions that you can pick up, which I did. All right from Ruger here, 380 auto there. But with that, it just makes it so it's kind of a little bit weird in the pocket, although it does help fill your hand, kind of like this pinky one did here. But you can kind of see the pinky is dangling, right? So you really have like one finger on here, and that's really the problem with deep carrying these little guys. This one is just not that comfortable like that, whereas this one you can fit almost your whole hand with that. But I usually carry it with just the 10, so the 10+1, and you still get almost an entire second finger, almost a little bit of pinky on there if you kind of chalk it up a little bit. But this right here has that stainless steel slide up top here, has that nice finish here for that aluminum trigger, and it just looks really clean, really grippy. Haven't had any problems with it. Sight picture, of course, has that little night sight up there, and you can see the blacked out serrated rear, nice little kind of a U-notch there. But that's the way to go, honestly, compared to the old one there. Which the old one's not bad. They definitely did some work to it. You can kind of see the hammers are both back now. Sizing wise, let's say there's no mag in here. You can see they added a little bit of width to it. So let's say you can kind of see the biggest difference with the mag, right? Which the mags are much beefier, almost twice the size, right? But with that, they didn't add much length. The actual slide, everything above that mag well is relatively the same. Kind of see that there. Moved around a couple of the pins here. Slight design tweaks overall. The back here. What's interesting is like they almost tapered the mag, right? Which makes sense because how steep that taper is on that mag. But look at the back of the Ruger LCP II. It's almost wider back here than the LCP Max. You can get a good look at that. So interesting how they made this fit, but same goes for things like the shield, when that was a big deal with the single stack 9mm there. You know, wow, it got like 7 rounds, 8 rounds of 9 in such a thin handgun. And then you had things like the P365, the SIG P365. When that came out, that was a big deal. So they just kind of took that and ran with it for a 380. I think they did pretty well. Improved magazine release right here. This is actually metal. This is just a plastic button. This is a nice big textured button versus just a little tiny thing. Again, they have that older type design that Ruger had out for a while. They're a little blocky, and this does not feel that good compared to having some nice curvature in here. I don't see this one hurting in between the webbing of my fingers there too much, which is good. Field stripping for general safe maintenance of this particular firearm. YouTube, if you're watching, this is for disassembly and reassembly of this firearm for safe maintenance handling to make sure that it's running properly and safe in a proper manner. Now, what you want to do, check to make sure they're loaded, check again. You want to lock this back like so. There is your slide lock right there. Now, it is technically toolless. You can get your nail in there if you want, but you might want to avoid messing up your nail. There's this whole flat pin right there. Get a tool, get an end of a spent case, what have you, whatever you can find. And you're gonna simply pop this out while it is locked back. Pin comes out. You can slide this all the way off like so. Now you can kind of see it's very similar to other firearms. You have a non-captured guide rod, so note that this guide rod will pop out. Barrel comes out like so, and then you have the inside workings here. And then you can see the hammer back there, little bobbed hammer, right? It's not really external hammer, internal hammer. There you go. Needs a good cleaning. That's gonna be next here on the docket. Put it back together. Barrel goes in like that. Spring has a little recessed area for the spring to go in. Now you go and push your rod, and you want to make sure that rod lines up in here before you can push it all the way through. So the rod's going to kind of slightly poke out there just a little bit. Get the rod on that ledge there. See that? Seated straight in the middle and all the way down. That's important. So slide it back on, all the way back, lock it back. Key step, barrel. Gets stuck back sometimes. Barrel has to be all the way forward, slightly tilted up. Pin. There's a silver bar in there. Kind of wedge it in there, get that pin in there. Again, barrel's got to be all the way forward. It's gonna be kind of tricky sometimes. There we go. Give a little shimmy sometimes. Push it all the way in, close it, back in business. Spin. So who is the LCP Max for? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're a first-time handgun owner, someone at the counter says, I got you, here's an LCP. No, no, this is not a, I'm a first-time gun owner handgun. I know 380 sounds more pleasant than 9, but these things are small. They have just okay for grip, really, and it's something where they are a lot snappier than they look. And not only that, the triggers alone, you have to kind of get a little more used to. It's not like something like a striker fired handgun. It's a hammer fired, so it just feels a little different in the hand. And there's some serious kind of slapping of that trigger going back, so much so where the gaping holes underneath here in the trigger guard, I'll have black all over my finger shooting it. Again, it's more like a backup weapon. It's not gonna be your first handgun. You're gonna probably wanna go even 9mm for that, just because you can get a little bit bigger, a little bit more comfortable. If anything, maybe go the Bodyguard 2.0 and 380. Now that is just the ergonomics kind of help with how small it is, help with how snappy it could be. The felt recoil on that is much better. You can shoot that almost all day compared to this, which, well, even the LCP II, you know, I train with all these, especially if I am going to carry them. Even the LCP II was always just not fun to shoot. So if you're going to take it, if you don't enjoy shooting it, or if you don't want to shoot it, I mean, what's the point in carrying it? Because you're not going to get the training that you need and it's just not going to be that enjoyable to own. And you need to get that training, you need to get that sight picture practice, you need to be able to draw it safely, to load it, to rack the slide, all of that stuff, and of course take it apart like you saw for cleaning and maintenance. So the LCP II, LCP Max, this whole series of handguns aren't first-time buyer handguns, but they are excellent backups and deep pocket concealed carry type handguns. They've never had a problem with reliability. With this new LCP Max, you saw improved sights, maybe improved trigger. This one's a much bigger trigger, has that stainless steel, or it's probably aluminum, honestly. There's aluminum trigger right here, that's silver there. You know, nice buttons there, you can lock it back pretty easy. Release the slide pretty easy. All the stuff you're looking for out of a handgun, and the fact that it's so small is an added benefit. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I've had this in for a few months, it's been great. I definitely would recommend it. Everything you've seen in this video is down in the parts list below, which is linked to my new website, so check that out. As always, if you have any questions about any of the things you've seen today in the video, hit them down in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. Make sure you train at the range, like we talked about it. Train with what you want to carry, train with what you want to use. Go to the range, train, because you never really know what's coming. And of course, take care of the ones you love, because those are the ones that matter, and we'll see you in the next review.